Good morning students. I am Sheikh Dawood Parveen, Assistant Professor in CSE Department, Chevrolet Engineering College. Now today I am going to discuss about the topic what are the different principles of Frederick Winslow Taylor's. Thus Frederick Winslow Taylor is the one of the person who explained about what are the scientific principles in a management practices. So Frederick Winslow Taylor, one of the first contributor to motivational theory, that is he is the one of the contributors to motivational theory. He explained about how to motivate the employees towards the work. So he give importance to the employees, that means his principle is called as a employees or workers motivated principles. He formulated the scientific principles of management with which he sought to improve industrial efficiency. That is, he explained first time, he is the first person who explained about the scientific principles of a management which he sought to improve industrial efficiency. A mechanical engineer himself, he tried to establish a theory for what could improve worker and industrial efficiency. What could improve workers as well as a industrial efficiency. He suggested that workers are primarily motivated by pay and probably just pay alone. They are primarily motivated by pay and probably just pay alone. That is, with the help of this concept, the Frederick Winslow Taylor motivated the employees or workers towards the organization. That is, his theory is at a shop floor level. Shop floor level means that is at a production level. That is, he explained the theories of a, or he explained different motivational theories which are the one of the principles of a Frederick Winslow Taylor. The scientific principles of Frederick Winslow Taylor, first principle is called as a science, not rule of thumb. Science, not rule of thumb. Taylor maintained that the rule of thumb should be replaced by scientific knowledge. Rule of thumb should be replaced by scientific knowledge. While rule of thumb emphasizes mere estimation, scientific method denotes precision in determining any aspect of work. That is, which rule of thumb emphasizes mere estimation, scientific method denotes precision in determining any aspects of a work. This should be done with the help of careful scientific investigation. So, this should be done with the help of a careful scientific investigation. So, that is Frederick Winslow Taylor is the first person who implements scientific training in the organization also. He implements scientific trainings to the employees. By the help of providing scientific training to the employees, automatically with the help of this scientific training, the efficiency of the industry increases and workers are motivated towards the work, and workers' working efficiency also improve. This brings us to criticism of Taylor's philosophy. Harry Minchberg, a management theorist, suggests an obsession with efficiency allows measurable benefits to overshadow less quantifiable social benefits completely, and social values get left behind. Social benefits, the less quantifiable social benefits and social values get left behind. This is the one of the criticisms of a Taylor. Also, among Taylor's more favorable scientific principles are standardization of tools and techniques. That is, he tells to standardize the tools and techniques. Scientific recruitment of labor, scientific allotment of task, that is to recruit the employees by the help of a scientific process, and that is to give task to the employees as a scientific allotment task. Like as with the help of method study and work measurement, that is to give the task which the persons who are able to complete the task. So, the type of providing scientific task to the employees is one of the principle of a F.W. Taylor, and he also, that is, he also identified the standard of workers, standard of work. That is the standard of work means that is the work, if you take any work, harmony not discord. Taylor emphasizes that harmony rather than discord should be obtained in group action. Harmony means that a group should work as a unit and contribute to the maximum. That is, harmony means that a group, that is, Taylor give importance to a teamwork. Harmony means that a group should work as a unit and contribute to the maximum. Within it there should be mutual give and task and take situation and proper understanding. There should be mutual give and take situation and proper understanding. So that is the second principle of a Taylor is harmony not discord. Taylor emphasizes that harmony rather than discord should be obtained in group action. He give that individual give importance to a group action rather than individual actions. By the help of group action, mutual give and take situation and proper understanding will be occur in the organization. So that is called as a harmony and discord is the one of the principle of a F.W. Taylor. He also propagated that the worker should be closely supervised and controlled to ensure maximum productivity from the workers. That is, the supervision is very compulsory and to closely supervised and controlled to ensure maximum productivity from the workers. Any surprises if we reveal that this greatly inspired Henry Ford. Ford adopted these principles and designed his assembly line. This eventually led to the inception of concepts like mass production and economic of scales. That is, with the help of this principle, that is the supervising of also the workers should be closely supervised and controlled to ensure maximum productivity with the help of this principle. That is, the Ford adopted this principle and he used this principle in a mass production and economies of scale. We know about economies of scale. Economies of scale means that is the by the help of increasing the quantity of output, automatically it gives more benefit to the organization. So that means what are the economical benefits to the organization by increasing the output quantity is called as a economies of scale. Mass production means that is at a time to produce more quantity of units. So Ford used this principle as a to the workers should be closely supervised and controlled to ensure maximum productivity from the workers, and use this principle to assemble lines and mass production and as well as in economies of scale. Next principle of a Frederick Winslow Taylor is cooperation not individualism. Cooperation not individualism. Scientific management requires that parts of industry body cooperate with each other. Scientific management requires that parts of industrial body cooperate with each other. Scientific management is based on mutual confidence, cooperation and goodwill. Mutual confidence, cooperation and goodwill. It requires a complete mental revolution on the part of both workers and management. It requires a complete mental revolution on the part of both workers and as well as management. So that is the Frederick Winslow Taylor tells, that is cooperation, mutual confidence and goodwill is the one of the scientific principle. It is based on mutual confidence, cooperation of employees and goodwill. That is, the workers and management cooperation is necessary for the organization. That means management and workers cooperation means that is the workers cooperate with the management, and the management is also that is to cooperate to the worker. That means to solve the problems of the workers also. And the fourth principle of management is, or scientific F.W. Taylor's principle is, development of each man to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. Greatest efficiency and prosperity. In order to maximize production, all possible efforts are made to increase the efficiency of workers. In order to maximize production, all possible efforts are made to increase the efficiency of workers. Workers are selected according to the nature of work. Workers are selected according to the nature of work. It includes scientific training, scientific allotment of work, implementation of incentive wage plan, above all development of workers to the fullest extent for themselves and also for the company's highest prosperity. The company's highest prosperity. Workers are selected according to the nature of work. Depending upon the nature of the work, it is to select the work. It includes, that is to provide scientific training to the employees, scientific allotment of work, implementation of incentive wage plans, that means incentive wage plans depending upon their work, that is to give wages to the employees, development of workers to the fullest extent for themselves and also for the company's highest prosperity. So, in these principles, that is it is helpful to the employees for their career development and as well as for the organizational production to produce maximum production to the gives maximum production to the organizations, and the efficiency of industry and as well as employees efficiency also increases. So, that is a F.W. Taylor is the first person who implement this type of the scientific principles in a management concept or in a management principles. So, these are the 4 principles of a Frederick Winslow Taylor's. So, most strongly propagated incentive wage system is, that is the Taylor for the first time advocated an incentive wage system in the form of differential piece wage instead of time wage. Differential piece wage instead of time wage. There are 2 types of wage system, piece wage system and time wage system. Piece wage system means that is the depending upon the number of pieces production to give wages to the employees. Time wage system means that is the if he produces 2 units, 10 units or 20 units of output, but that is if he spend 10 hours or 8 hours in the organization, so automatically you pay per day some amount. So, that is called as a time wage system. But piece wage system means that is if he stay in the organization 1 hour or 2 hour, but depending upon his number of units of production, that is to pay wages to the workers, that is called as a piece wage system. Under differential piece system, 2 wage rates are prescribed, that is one lower and other higher. Those who are unable to perform standard work within standard time are paid wages at lower rate per unit, that is a person who are unable to perform standard work within standard time are paid wages at lower rate per unit. That under differential piece system 2 wage rates are prescribed, that is one lower and one higher. So, what is lower and what is higher? Those who are unable to perform standard work within standard time are paid wages at lower rate per unit. So, Taylor suggested that this differences and more is enough to motivate the workers to improve their efficiency, effectiveness and the overall productivity of the factory. So, these 2 types of systems are helpful to motivate the workers to improve their efficiency, effectiveness and the overall productivity of the factory. What if the same was applied to us? Imagine this, our college creates an arbitrary standard of completing 5 assignments in a week out of 25. In a week out of 25. Anyone who managed to complete 5 gets an assured GPA of 1.6. And every time we complete another assignment over and above 5, we score a little more. So, this is one of the example for this type of the wage rate system, that is anyone who managed to complete 5 gets an assured GPA of 1.6 out of 25 assignments, and every time we complete another assignment over and above 5, we score a little more. So, that is the example for this differentiate wage rate system. On the contrary, those who attain standard or even more than or more within the standard time are paid wages at higher rate per unit. Thus, there is considerable difference in wages between those attained and those who do not attain standards. That is the in the scientific management principles, by the help of this differentiate wage rate system, that is a person who attains standards, that is to give one type of wage system, and the person who does not attain the standards to give and the differential wages. Thus, there is considerable differences in wages between those who attain and those who do not attain standards. For example, if the standard for unloading wooden boxes is 20 in an hour, anyone who manages to unload 20 would get a wage of $5, and also an extra dollar for each extra box unloaded within that stipulated time. That is, our target is 20 boxes an hour. If you unload extra any box, so automatically that is you get extra money. On the other hand, On the other hand, anyone who is unable to attain the standard of 20 bucks in an hour just gets $3 as his final wage. That is his final wage, because he does not reach within standard of the wage system. Anyone who does not complete even the minimum number assignments scores lower than 1.6. Here the assumption is that those extra marks are great motivator for us to be on fire. That is, if you compare the examples of that is a box and as a GPA, if the person who get lower than 1.6, here that is he does not reach the standards, and the person that is he gets more than 1.6 GPA, that is who attain the standards. Here the assumption is that those extra marks are great motivator for us to be on fire with our assignments. However, what the authority will fail to realize is that the quality of the work in the assignment will degrade tremendously because of the monotony and undue pressure. Because of the monotony and undue pressure, our lives would probably revolve solely around assignments and would make us a fossil of our own times, So that is the Frederick Winslow Taylor's principles of management. That is, Frederick Winslow Taylor explained 4 principles of management. So what are these 4 principles of management for a Frederick Winslow Taylor's are? First one is science, not rule of thumb. That is to follow the scientific principles, not rule of thumb. And second one, harmony, not discord. That is, encourage the teamwork. And third one is cooperation, not individualism. That is to cooperation between employees and management. And fourth principle, that is development of each man to his great efficiency and prosperity by the help of providing scientific training and development processes. And the next person is Henry Fayol. What are the Henry Fayol's principles? Principles of management. Nature or characteristic features of principles of management. General guidelines formed by practice and experimentation, universal applicability, flexible, contingent, behavioral, cause and effect relationship. That is a nature, characteristics or features of principles of management are general. It provides a general guidance formed by practice and experimentation. Universally, these principles are applicable. Their principles are flexible depending upon the type of the production or depending upon the type of the organization. That is, it contains flexibility. Contingent, and it is also behavioral and as well as cause and effect relationships. Next, what are the 2 principles, main principles of management are? First one, Fayol's principles, Taylor's scientific management principles. We already explained about what are the Taylor's scientific management principles. Now we are going to explain about what are the Henry Fayol's 14 principles of management. Henry Fayol is the one of the follower of a F.W. Taylor, but the difference between Fayol and F.W. Taylor's principle is that is F.W. Taylor's concentrate on workers, but Henry Fayol's concentrate on enterprise. So that is called as a Fayol's principles are enterprise oriented principles, and Frederick Winslow Taylor's principles are called as a work oriented principles. So Henry Fayol's, that is, he is the one of the contributor for a scientific management principles. His principles are: first one, division of work; second one, authority and responsibility; discipline; unity of command; unity of direction; subordination of individual interest to the common interest; remuneration of personnel; centralization and decentralization; scalar chain; order; equity; stability and tenure of employees; initiative; and esprit de corps. So these are the 14 principles of Henry Fayol's. So the Henry's first principle is division of labor. Division of work, that is division of labor means that is to divide the work or division of work. It is suggested that work can be performed more efficiency. The work can be performed more efficiency if it is divided into specialized task. It is divided into specialized task. That is the FOIL tells, that is to divide the work into different bits and to give each and every bit or task to each person, and to divide the overall organization task into different specialized tasks. That is the first principle of a Henry Fayol's is division of labor. A trained specialist who is competent is required to perform each job, leading to specialization, which results in efficient and effective output. A trained specialist who is competent is required to perform each job, leading to specialization, which result in efficient and effective output. That is the division. By the help of division of work, it gives a efficient and effective output to the organization. So that is the first principle, is that is division of labor. That means to divide the work or division of work. The second principle of Henry is, that is authority and responsibility. Authority means that is a power. The powers means is called as the authority. And what is authority? That is to define clearly about what is authority and what is responsibility. Authority is the right to be give orders and obtain obedience. To give orders and obtain obedience. Responsibility is the corollary of authority. Responsibility is a corollary of authority. Managers require authority commensurate with their responsibility. Managers require authority commensurate with their responsibility. An organization should build safeguard against abuse of managerial power. Abuse of managerial power. At the same time, manager should have necessary authority to carry out his responsibility. The manager should have necessary authority to carry out his responsibility. So in this principle, that is the other to clearly define about if the organization contain different levels of management as a top level, middle level and lower level of management, to clearly define about what are their powers, and as well as what are their responsibility. For example, that is a top level management containing the powers, that is to give orders and obtain obedience from a middle and lower level management. And at the same time, that is his responsibilities is, that is to make some policies, rules and regulations of the organization, and to identify the mission and vision of the organization. That is his responsibility. So in this, that is without authority there is no use of responsibility, and without responsibility there is no use with authority. If the person does not contain any responsibility, but if the organization gives some powers to him, but no use by the help of these powers. And at the same time, that is if the person contain, for example, a supervisor is a responsible person, but he does not contain any authority, any powers or any right to give orders upon their subordinates. So automatically there is no use with the help of the responsibility. So that is called as a, to clearly define about what is the authority and what is the responsibility of each and every person in the organization. Next one is, that is next principle is discipline. So discipline, it refers to the obedience to organization rules. To the obedience to organization rules and employment agreement, which are necessary for the working of the organization. Discipline is the obedience to organization rules and employment agreement, which are necessary for the working of the organization. It requires good superiors at all levels. It requires good superiors at all levels, clear and fair agreement and judicious applications of penalties. Workers and management both should honor their commitments towards or another without prejudice. That is the main. Workers and management should honor their commitments towards one another one another, that is to maintain the obedience. So discipline means that is to obey for the agreement of an organization, that is a discipline is maintained in the organization, that means obedience. The employees should obey with the management, and at the same time the management should obey to the employees. So the type of the, it requires good superiors at all levels, clear and fair agreement among the employees, and if they cross their rules and regulations, that is it should be, they should be punished by the organizational activities. So that is called as a discipline. Next principle of a Henry is unity of command. Unity of command. Each employee in an organization should receive orders from one superior only, and he could be responsible to only one superior. Each employee in an organization should receive orders from one superior only and could be responsible to only one superior. It prevents confusion regarding task to be done. Foyle felt that if this principle is violated, authority is undermined, discipline is an jeopardy, order disturbed, and stability threatened. So that is called as a unity of command. Foyle felt that if this principle is violated, authority is undermined, discipline is jeopardy, order disturbed, and stability threatened. So that is the principle. Unity of command means that is the one person receives commands only from one superior. For example, that is each person contain only one superior, that is he is responsible for a single superior, that means he receive orders, and he is receive order from one superior, and he is responsible to only one superior. If so many superiors are allotted to a single person, so automatically his role is confusion, and by preventing the confusing of task to be done, that is to provide a unity of command in the organization. The next principle is unity of direction. The unity of direction states that all the division of an organization should be moving towards the same objective through coordination and focused efforts. It states that all the division of an organization should be moving towards the same objective through coordination and focused efforts. Each group of activities having the same objective must have one head and one plan. One head, that is unity of direction means that is one head and one plan. Unity of command means that is only one superior and one subordinate. Unity of direction means that is one head and one plan. This ensures unity of action and coordination. It prevents overlapping of activities. It affects the entire organization, that is it affects the entire organization. It states that all the division of an organization should be moving towards the same objective through coordination and focused efforts. Each group of activities having the same objective must have one head and one plan. That means the organization, that is all the activities through coordination the organization should have containing only one objective. If once the plan is fixed, that is to the person who implement the plan is the single person, that is single plan and single person to implement the plan. So by the help of this process, that is it affects by the preventing overlapping of activities are occur. If you change the plan and as well as the plan implementing person from time to time, so automatically that is a overlapping of activities are occur and it affects the entire organization. So once the plan or mission or vision is fixed, so that is to allot the person for implementing the vision of the organization. So that is called as a unity of direction. Next principle of Henry is subordination of individual interest to the common interest. Subordination of individual interest to the common interest. So individual interest means that is each and every employee's interest. Each and every employee's interest means that is what is the goal or what is the task of each, or what is the objectives of each and every employee, or what is the interest, what is the interest of a single employee in the organization. So the interest of each and every employee's interest is considered as a whole organization interest. Each and every employee's interest is considered as a whole organizational interest. So automatically the each employee think that is his interest. So automatically without external motivation, that is he is ready to complete the task, because that is his individual interest. But it is not only his individual interest, it is also the organizational interest. So it is beneficial to the organization. The interest of an organization should take priority over the interest of any individual employee. Should take priority over the interest of any individual employee. The larger interest of the workers and stakeholders are more important than the interest of any one person. Workers and shareholders are more important than the interest of any one person. A manager can ensure this by his exemplary behavior. So generally that is the interested person of an organization, or that is the shareholders, government and employees. The shareholders' main interest is that is they want to increase their share value. So when the share value increases, if the organization get more and more profits, so automatically the share value of the company increases. And the employees' interest is that is they want to work in the organization with the help of their interest, that is they are concentrated, mostly concentrated the work which is their interested work. So automatically they are concentrated upon the work. So that is the larger interest of the workers and shareholders are more important than the interest of any one person. So the manager can ensure this by his exemplary behavior. So the next one is remuneration of personnel. So this is the next principle of the Henry Fayol's is remuneration of personnel. We are discuss this remuneration of personnel in the next class. So first of all, that is what are the different principles of a Henry Fayol is, that is division of labor, that is to distribute the work. Next, that is clearly defined what are the authorities and what is the responsibilities of each and every person in the organization. And that is to maintain discipline in the organization. That is unity of command, that means one superior and one subordinate. Unity of direction, that means that is to make the organization as a one head and one plan. Subordination of individual interest to common interest. And next one, that is the remuneration of personnel.